Oh my God. Golden Sun in the box. So my brother's been drinking. You want to say that again?
Okay, I'll say it again. Sometimes I sit down in a place and you look around and it feels more like the memory of the place than the place itself.
So
why don't you do a pan?
So you're in somebody's memory?
No, I'm in my memory.
How are you in your memory?
This place is more a memory that I'm going to have in the future than an experience that I'm having right now.
So you're experiencing your memory in the past, in the future?
Yeah. Sounds about right.
What's in that beer?
Good stuff. Flint water.
Hey, you're drinking Michigan Flint water from a beer from Detroit. Not sponsored. Not sponsored. Whatever that is, that's... We haven't had that much to drink, Ari.
It's irrelevant.
So we made it to Michigan. We got where we needed to go. Tomorrow we have some things that we're going to be doing so that way we can go fishing, because that's one of the things that we're going to be doing up here is fishing, as well as see a couple other things. And we met up with a friend that is a fellow content creator here, so stay tuned for that. They're at our cabin right now. It was about a 34-hour drive because of the stops that we did. We did more than just gaming stops. We stopped at a few gaming places in Gainesville. We stopped at gaming places in Indiana. We're going to stop at a couple over here in Michigan as well. So it's 10 o'clock. Tomorrow we're going to be checking out a couple different places for retro gaming. And while we're up here, we're doing some fishing. We're doing a whole bunch of different things. Today we got our fishing gear and we went fishing at a lake that's close by here. And I mean, it didn't go so well. We didn't really catch anything, but it's fine. I mean, we got to have a good time. This is the first time that my kids have ever gone fishing. So right now, being 10 o'clock, I'm barbecuing. We made some burgers. You know, it was a fun day. It was fun. It was, again, the first time that my kids have gone fishing. And again, I wish we would have caught something, but I mean, it's not the last time we're gonna go fishing while we're here, so it's just the first day. Tomorrow we have a full schedule ahead of us. So we're gonna be doing some filming in different retro stores, checking out what they have. Hopefully they have some good things so we can talk about it. We can feature on this series here. But yeah, this was the first full day up here. So hope you guys enjoy this series, and hope you guys have as much fun as I've had fun on this road trip so far.
For those that don't know me, my name is Pilk, and I am a self-proclaimed coffee aficionado, nay, coffee sommelier. I have had Kona in Kona, Hawaii. I have had Cafe Cubano on Beaufort Highway in Atlanta, but that's close enough for my taste. I have tried coffee from literally everywhere and anywhere you can imagine, and that's why I actually have come to really like Rom Roast. This was supposed to be the demo bag, and I accidentally the whole first bag. So, dear Root, I could use a little bit more. Thanks again. Now, first things first, do not let this bag fool you. While it does say medium roast, now if you, like me, are a fan of dark roasts, fret not. This cup is full of all the flavors and all the notes that you are usually accustomed to in a fine dark roast. We're talking chocolates, we are talking caramel notes. It really is everything that you want in a dark roast. While I'm bringing it behind me in a pour over, I've actually done this as both a cup of cappuccino, latte, just a regular espresso, and believe it or not, even there, it still holds the bar. It is fantastic. I absolutely stand by this product. Rom Roast by Root, a wonderful cup of coffee. Don't trust me? Check out the link down below for 10% off. Guys, go get yourself a bag right now. Enjoy.
All right, so we're in Saginaw, Michigan. For some reason, I want to say Flint. I'm joined by Liz from Saturn 9 Gaming. Her husband's back there, and my wife is there. We're gonna check out Disc Replay. What do you think of this place?
I love this place. It's one of my favorite places, like game stores in Saginaw.
Oh look, we're on camera.
We're on
All right, so we're gonna see what they have inside. Illusion of Gaia. They have a lot of nice, like I like how everything's displayed. Ooh, Ogre Battle. That's rough. It's a hard game to play.
Yeah, I played it.
Doom.
Secret Scout.
Like I played Ogre Battle 64 and then Ogre Battle on the PS1. Those were rough games, man.
I think I played either. I played the original, and then there was like a tactics game.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a Final Fantasy.
Right, and that's why I played it, because I played Final Fantasy Tactics. I loved it, and then I go and play Ogre Battle 64, which is Tactics.
Oh, yeah.
So different. Little Dragonite. Oh, I just saw the face. Too bad that Ocarina of Time is in the condition that it's in. That's a little beat up. That's a nice price though. Mine too. Like this, it's a little faded on the yellow and the label, but. This is a nice store. I like this store. Ooh, Genesis. Sword of Vermilion. That is a good game. Oh my god, they have Phantasy Star 4. They have 2 copies of Phantasy Star 4.
Phantasy Star is a Japanese RPG series that was originally developed by Sega. This game franchise found its humble beginnings on the Sega Master System. The first game was released December 20th, 1987. The first 4 games take place in a planetary system known as Algol. Please forgive me on that pronunciation. And the first 4 games are also turn-based RPGs. Other iterations in this franchise series are action-based as well as multiplayers online, which is actually where I started playing Phantasy Star. All the way back on the Xbox 360, believe it or not. Yep, that's where I first played this series. Definitely doesn't give you the full Phantasy Star experience, but I definitely really did enjoy it back in the day, so I can see why people truly love these series. Now, Sega really wanted to push the limits when it came to the Phantasy Star series. They were competing against the little-known game Dragon Quest, and because of that, they wanted to go for an overall different theme. They wanted to combine sci-fi and fantasy, and they were also heavily inspired by Star Wars. So much that you see some of these characters and you're like, that's a stormtrooper. There's no denying it. That's a stormtrooper. I'm not mad that it's a stormtrooper, but that's a stormtrooper. You also get to play as a female protagonist, which at the time was kind of unheard of. We didn't really have that many female protagonists. And what's even more impressive about this is she was designed by a very famous female game designer, Ryoko Kodama. Please forgive me on that pronunciation. And she's also just a very big part of women's representation in video games. So she wanted to create a character that dismantled the stereotypes of the damsel in distress, while also creating a character that appealed to a man and a woman. And I definitely feel like she did that. Character design on par. Sega also wanted to create a game that was very technically superior, but also couldn't be replicated on a Nintendo system. And they actually had twice the amount of sprites that Dragon Quest had, so yeah, they did it. The first 4 games are regarded as classics, both by modern and previous audiences. These games are very, very well loved. There's actually game books, which if you don't know what a game book is, I didn't know what it was. It's basically a choose your own adventure. There's also a manga that was made for the series, as well as a 4-episode anime. No, I haven't seen it. You can find all of the translations and all of the stuff online with some digging, but yeah, they exist. There is also a remake of the first game for the PlayStation 2. It's Phantasy Star Generation 1, and it just kind of added some quality of life stuff. So it, fixed some graphics and added some additional cutscenes. The character Noah, now this one's really interesting. The character Noah was actually meant to be an intersex character. And Sega was like, you know what, we're gonna scrap that, which is kind of interesting that they wanted to put a character like that, especially at the time period. But yeah, Sega's like, yeah, we're gonna scrap that. However, he's still a very androgynous character, and a lot of players were like, we don't know what Noah, who is Noah? What is Noah? So there was a lot of confusion with what Noah's gender was. So did Sega really scrap it? I mean, I guess, kind of, whatever. The first game is the most expensive game that was ever made for the Sega Master System. And there's two reasons for that. There's a specific 4-bit mega chip that goes into the cartridge to help save on battery. And there was also a chip shortage at the time. So because of those two factors, this was a very expensive game, and there you go. This was actually the first Japanese RPG to come over to the West. So it actually beat Dragon Quest, which I thought was kind of awesome. And this was also the first game to be translated to Portuguese. I don't know why, but yeah, it's the first game to be translated to Portuguese. GameSpot at one point considered like Phantasy Star 2 to be one of the greatest games ever made. And there's a whole bunch of people online who believe that the Phantasy Star series, specifically the first 4, are total masterpieces. I feel like we say this with every franchise. These are cult classics for a reason. Like, there are reasons why people love these series. So I get it, especially with having the experience that I have with the Phantasy Star series. I definitely see why this is a beloved series. Phantasy Star 3 was marketed as this groundbreaking 16-bit game and was compared to games that were on computers, which very big difference graphically. So it's received a lot of accolades. And in fact, the whole series as a whole really, a lot of people say there's no bad game in this series, and just looking through the overall like reviews that everyone had, both currently and when these games were originally released, yeah, they seem to hold up. So let us know what you think about the Phantasy Star series below, because I really do love this series, and I definitely feel like it deserves a lot more light. And it actually is a very impactful game to video game history.
Phantasy Star 2, $89. That is a sealed copy of Donkey Kong Country.
$450.
I've never seen a sealed copy of Donkey Kong Country.
I haven't either.
So what game are you looking for right now?
I'm looking for mostly Kirby stuff, but I see that Goof Troop up there. I think thinking about buying that for 30.
Because
$25.
you're trying to go for a complete
Super Nintendo collection. Yep, complete North American Super Nintendo collection.
Hey guys, HarleyQ here, and today I have the absolute pleasure of talking about the SNES with you. This is the second system ever released by Nintendo and is the successor to the NES. It was released in 1990 and is actually referred to as the Super Comboy over in Korea. And that's because there was a trades embargo at this time, so Nintendo approached Hyundai Electronics, not the car company, related but not really, but they approached Hyundai Electronics to create all of these Comboy systems. So there's a whole series of Comboy systems. And yeah, there's actually a Super Nintendo arcade cabinet, and it has all the really popular games like Super Mario World, F-Zero, and Contra 3. This is also where we get the start of the console wars, where we get Sega does what Nintendo don't, except Nintendo outsold Sega by 1.9 million in the US. Talking about overselling, the SNES outsold the NES by 49.1 million units, so much more successful than the NES was worldwide. This is worldwide numbers for this. The audio chip that was used in the SNES was developed by Ken Kutaragi. Yes, you heard that right. He saw his daughter playing her Famicom and realized that video games were going to be incredibly popular, so he developed the chip in secret. He actually almost got fired from Sony for this, but the CEO of Sony at the time saved his job, and then this is where we get the development of the CD add-on for the SNES that ultimately falls through the Nintendo PlayStation, and then this is what causes Sony to go off and create the Sony PlayStation, which we all can agree completely changed the video game market. Just this whole chip. It started all with a chip, in the SNES, which I think is just so cool. The yellowing that happens to the SNES systems happens because of the ABS plastic that's used. It's essentially oxidization. So the way that you can fix it is by retrowriting, which is taking your shell, not your whole system, don't dunk your whole system into hydrogen peroxide, just the shell. You put it into some hydrogen peroxide and you stick it into some UV light and it should brighten it. So yeah, you can fix the yellowing. Oh, I threw it over here. No. Nintendo made vast improvements to the controller. This is actually where we get the dog bone controller, which I think we all can agree is so much more comfortable to hold in your hands as opposed to the square abomination, which is the NES controller. And I say abomination because after holding it for several minutes, it becomes very uncomfortable. As much as we love the NES, we can agree the controller is not comfortable. There is actually a Japanese exclusive add-on that is a satellite peripheral known as the Satellaview. Yeah, you heard that right. Basically, it's a modem that goes onto the bottom, a cartridge, and then a memory card. And it gave you access to online games. It gave you a world-like hub similar to Earthbound, and there was all these different broadcast and magazine interviews and all this online exclusive stuff. Except it was really expensive. I think the modem itself was about $800, and then there was a subscription fee on top of that. It's because of the Satellaview that there's a ton of lost media. Nintendo was known for just only broadcasting things one time and then that being the end of it. So there are a ton of broadcasts that will probably never be seen again, which obviously is a huge tragedy, but we're constantly having more people who are finding these old memory cards and they're uploading them online. So hopefully at some point we'll get them all, but some of the stuff might be completely lost to history. This is also where we get birth to like the X band with okay. So in America, in order to play online, we had something referred to as an X band, which was a cartridge that would go in the top of your system and it would plug in a phone jack. The card itself was around $20 with a $5 subscription for monthly access to play online games, which is revolutionary at the time because there wasn't really a lot of online gaming. This is also where we get the Super Game Boy, where you are able to play your Game Boy games at home on your home system, and it came with a cute little border depending on the game, and I love my Super Game Boy. It's usually how I capture any Game Boy footage. It is how I capture my Game Boy footage, is through my SNES. The SNES was so big in Japan that the Japanese government basically said, hey, we can't release video games during the week because it caused such a disruption in the Japanese economy and just like stopped everything. So now video games are only released on Friday or the weekend. Big gamers over there. There are officially 721 titles released for the North American SNES, while there are like 1,400 released for the Japanese. Of course, they get more games. They get everything. Did you know that there is a Sharp TV with an SNES built in it? It is a model SF1. Yeah, that's cool. The top-selling game for the SNES is Super Mario World, selling about 20 million units, which is an insane number. Like, conceptually, it's crazy. The difference in appearance for the PAL Japanese and American systems is simply just to match the region. They felt that Americans just couldn't pass the vibe check, so we don't get any colors. It's why our logo is gray. It's why the PAL and the Japanese get the beautiful color one and we get the gray one. Apparently, Americans can't handle color. I say as I wear all black, but that's not the point. Let me know what you guys think about the SNES below. Let me know what your favorite SNES game is. I'm gonna cop out and say Uniracers. Why Uniracers? It's the first one that came to mind. It's the first one.
Final Fantasy 3, that's not a bad price at all. They have another one behind it. Did I say Phantasy Star or Final Fantasy 3? I don't even know what I just said.
Final Fantasy 3. It's my favorite Final Fantasy.
It's a good one. What? Yeah, but it says no Wind Waker.
I know. I have a Wind Waker. Not an expensive game to buy. I could just like the disc.
I have Shattered Dimensions. A friend from work, or well, co-worker, gave me Shattered Dimensions for free. I'm missing Edge of Time though. That one's a nice one.
Spiderman Shattered Dimensions and Spiderman Edge of Time, a duology that's so unique and that I have actually quite fond memories, especially of the first one. The second one, unfortunately, I did not really like as much. And honestly, I was looking up the reviews for both games. Well, the first one did really well. The second one did receive mixed reviews, and that's something that I did not know about. And it's quite the coincidence that I actually didn't enjoy the second one as much. Spider-Man as a character is so unique and so relatable and really popular that you probably hear that a lot about the character. Now, the reason why Spider-Man is my favorite character is, well, one, he looks cool, he's amazing, no pun intended, and he's like one of the greatest characters ever created, ever. In all of fictional media, he's just an amazing character, and I love that guy. And as you can see behind me, it's evidently clear that I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. From the comics, to the toys, to the games, and the movies, Spider-Man is everywhere. So let's talk about Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions and Spider-Man Edge of Time. So unlike the other Spider-Man games that are more open world, which honestly to me reels me in because I'm a fan of open world games, Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions and Spider-Man Edge of Time are more like on a linear path. You actually play in different levels as you progress with the game. Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions follows 4 different versions, and now we're at the very start of the Spider-Verse. And what popularized Spider-Verse, the idea of Spider-Verse, was one guy in the comic industry called Dan Slott. He didn't create the idea. Actually, the idea comes from an actual Spider-Verse episode from the classic Fox Kids Spider-Man series called Spider-Man. But anyway, in this game, you're playing as 4 different versions of Spider-Man. You're playing as the Amazing, you're playing as Spider-Man 2099, you're playing also as Spider-Man Noir, and of course, Ultimate Spider-Man, which is pretty much the black suited Spider-Man. And their goal is to basically restore the balance by retrieving tablet fragments from villains within their respective universe. And Madam Web is also involved. In the sequel, Spider-Man and Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099, have to work together to prevent the death of Peter Parker. It's really unfortunate how in the sequel, Spider-Man Edge of Time, you only get to play as 2 Spider-Mans, whereas the first one you play as 4. Now these games did release back to back, 2010 and 2011, and when you play it, you can clearly see where all the effort went to. When you play the second game, it's like it feels a little bit rushed. However, the voice acting is quite good, and so is the action and the cutscenes. But after playing the game for a while, at least in my experience, I felt like everything was repetitive. From the combat to the gameplay and everything was just completely repetitive, and I didn't really like it as much. I'm not very fond of Edge of Time. Now, one thing that did stick out to me was Anti-Venom in Spider-Man Edge of Time, and I thought that was quite unique and different for the time. And that went on to get popular thanks to the comics, where a new character around that time, 2010-2011, was introduced in Marvel Comics. A character known as Martin Lee made his first appearance on Free Comic Book Day way back in 2007. And then the idea of Anti-Venom was introduced because of that character. Now, Martin Lee became extremely popular in the later Spider-Man games, simply titled Marvel Spider-Man, which came out in 2018 for the PlayStation 4. The reason why I bring this up is because, well, the Anti-Venom character, he is the way he is because of said character. But anyway, I just wanted to like point that out because, you know, I'm kind of a Marvel geek anyway, and I know things, and I just wanted to share that with you just in case you didn't know. But going back to talking about Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions and Edge of Time, those games were really unique and they were fun. Not exactly my cup of tea, in my opinion, because I would have preferred an open world Spider-Man game, but I feel like those games had a lot of potential, specifically in some of the levels in Shattered Dimensions and of course Edge of Time. Especially during the Spider-Man 2099 levels. In those levels, you actually get to explore the world of Nueva York, where Miguel O'Hara normally comes from. Wouldn't it be cool if we were able to actually explore the open world of Spider-Man 2099, of Nueva York 2099? That would have been amazing. But unfortunately, we didn't get it. And that really sucks. And I really do hope that we do get an open world Spider-Man 2099 game very soon. I know it's possible. We already have the technology, so it can clearly and easily be done. But anyway, overall, Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions and Edge of Time, I remember just having a complete good time with the games. I loved a lot of it, especially the first one. The second one didn't have great memories, but I still played it through. Unfortunately, I don't have physical copies with me to show you because I don't remember where I kept them, but I did have the games for the PS3, and I remember playing it on my dad's big screen at the time when I was living with my dad. And I just remember just simply having a good time with it and just enjoying it because it's Spider-Man. That's all I got for you today. Thank you all so much for watching, and back to you, Chris.
Oh, see, I need this. This is what I'm missing from my collection, from my Resident Evil collection. That one right there. Because I don't have the jewel case version. That's a good price for RE3, but that one doesn't have the Dino Crisis disc.
See that? It doesn't have one yet, but it's still
Ooh, Silent Hill. That is a nice copy of Silent Hill. Persona 3 Portable. That is a cheap price. Why is that so low? That is a cheap price for Persona 3 Portable. I'm tempted on that one right there. Even though I don't like Persona 3 Portable, I'm very tempted on that.
$80.
Oh my god. Golden Sun in the box.
So it's the Golden Sun series that you want to talk about. Absolutely, we could talk about the fantasy RPG series that was developed by Camelot Software and published by Nintendo. There were 3 games in this very beloved series, the first 2 being on the Game Boy Advance, the third being on the Nintendo DS. The first 2 being named Golden Sun and Golden Sun The Lost Age, the last one being Golden Sun Dark Dawn. This was originally only going to be one game. That's right, only one Golden Sun game. And the game was going to be on the Nintendo 64. However, Camelot Software decided they were going to move away from the N64 once the GameCube was introduced, and once the GameCube basically started picking up traction, they felt that they were going to move the focus from the N64 over to the Game Boy Advance. It's also because of that they had to split it into 2 separate games, so that's why there's 2 games. And I feel like this was actually a really good choice for Golden Sun in the long run. See, the developers generally say that it took so long to make the Golden Sun games because they were really pushing the limits for the system and making sure that all of the mechanisms as well as storytelling was really refined and perfect for when the game was released. I feel like it's because of that that the reception for this game was so well received. In fact, both the public and critics loved these games. Like all 3 of them were received very well, which I feel like sometimes is kind of rare for a series. So props to Golden Sun for that. Now this series is mainly praised for its high graphics, its really good storytelling, and its use of music. I do happen to agree, this actually is truly a very beautiful series to look at. If you are interested in playing the first 2 games, they are available on the Nintendo Switch as of January of 2024. So you have to have Nintendo Switch Online, I believe, in order to access them, but if you have it and you want to play them, there you go. Isaac, the main character of the first Golden Sun game, is actually an assist trophy that you can unlock in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. There's also a few other Easter eggs in Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo DS as well as the Wii U. In the menu, you'll hear the song The Lost Age medley, and you'll also be able to fight on the map that's from Golden Sun Dark Dawn. If you did not know, there is actually an unofficial manga that has been released in Japan. Yeah, there's like a manga for everything, I feel. However, it has been translated over to English, so you can find them all online and read them online if you're really interested in it. It just kind of goes into more of like the backstory of the characters. I didn't really read too much of them, I just read a couple panels, so if you're interested, take a look at that. Fun fact, Camelot Software also developed Mario Golf and Mario Tennis. They also developed a series for Sega, the Shining series. So they developed a bunch of games for Sega too. It's always interesting to see a company that works really closely with like Nintendo work with like other companies before they were with Nintendo, especially because like Sega and Nintendo had their whole thing many moons ago. I'm ranting now. I'm ranting. Wayard, which I think is how you say the world. Don't quote me on that. The map is completely flat. So your world is flat. So at least you get one flat Earth somewhere, you flat earthers. It's in the Golden Sun series. I'm not good at exits. Leave a comment below, let me know how you feel about the Golden Sun series. I truly love this series. It's a really both cute series to play, but also like the mechanics, the way that they developed some of the magical skills, all that stuff. I don't know, I like this game. I feel like more people should definitely play it. So if you do have Switch Online, check it out.
That is a cheap price too. Boy.
$87.
Yeah, that is
Not bad.
that is a very good price.
You know, I'm looking for some Kirby games too.
I'm missing this one from my collection too. That first mystery dungeon. That golden sun though.
Right along there.
Question for you.
Yeah.
That golden sun, is that complete?
Let me see. Should specify if it's not.
It just says NM, so I'm guessing near mint.
Oh, that's for like. Yeah, for our system.
It's a mystery game, but you will walk up to a person and they'll be like, "Hey, this reminds me of a puzzle I solved once. Take a look at it." They're very weird, but they're very fun.
They didn't have one that's not a reprint.
I mean, I have it sealed, so I don't.
Oh, okay.
Edition.
That's just the collector in me.
Yeah.
So we have Saturn 9, and we went to a whole bunch of different retro shops. So what did you get here?
Professor Layton and the Unwound Future. It's a puzzle game. I have a complete inbox, so I just got this.
Oh, okay.
I got this because it's sealed. I got this one so that I can actually play it.
All right, what else you get here?
Okay, so I got Centipede, which is a classic arcade game. The 3D version of this game is absolutely fantastic. I had it as a kid. And then I got Goof Troop for the SNES. Again, just trying to add to my Super Nintendo collection. I'm probably up to 70 games now.
And we got these where?
These were at Disc Replay.
Okay. So I got Lunar Silver Star Harmony, and we got this at Disc Replay. So I have the collector's edition for this, but it doesn't have the game because I sold the game a long time ago. So now I can actually put that collector's edition back together. And then I got Golden Sun, which I used to have a long time ago. Again, I had to sell it. But since I'm playing it on my backlog to get to the second game, and we found it for a good price, it's not what we paid for, I had to pick it up, and it's complete, and the box looks great, so I had to pick it up. Got a little dent, but that's fine. So how often do you buy your games here?
So I usually go maybe once every couple of months, just because it gets a little pricey.
Yeah.
I've been going a little more frequently lately, but typically once every few months I go and stop at some of the stores in the area.
And since nobody on your channel sees your husband, there he is. He's real.
I do exist.
Yes, he does.
Well, I appreciate you coming out with me, showing me all the
Yeah.
different stores, because this was fun. I'm so jealous you guys have that many stores around. So jealous.
Yeah, we have a lot to pick from.
Yeah, you do.
There's even more than that in the area too.
Yes, there is. Not enough time to go to all of them.
No.
Next time.
Yeah.
That and baby started getting fussy.
And the baby started getting fussy. There's baby Anakin.
Hey, hi, baby.
Anakin.
Hey, hi.
Hi.